What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Action Only Podcast with me, your host, Jalal Wilson. And today I have a special guest on, Samantha Grace. Now we're going to talk today about how she scaled her janitorial business from 0 to 6 figures. We're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about what led her to even make that decision. She just said in the podcast that she just up and quit one day. Was like, I'm about to go do this. I don't know about you, but I don't know if I'd have been able to do that. But we're going to talk about what led her to those circumstances. And we're also going to talk about the importance of having big goals, because she has a big goal she's trying to reach in the next 8 months. And I'm like, it's crazy. And we're going to talk about that today and so much more. Parenting, what she's learned about parenting, biggest lesson in business. All of that is going to be covered today on the podcast with Samantha Grace. So you don't want to miss this. Tune in now. All right. Again, it's Jalal Wilson with the Action Only Podcast.
Start the show with a quote. And today's quote is, be a first-rate version of yourself, not a second-rate version of someone else. And that quote is by Judy Garland. A lot of times we see other people doing things and we want to duplicate what they're doing or try to be like them. But the best thing we can do for ourselves is be the best version, the first-rate version of ourselves, because that's going to get us farther in life. And we don't always know what that person went through to get where they're at, to do what they're doing. So focus on being you. Who Samantha is. And what is Samantha outside of the business stuff? What is Samantha?
I know outside of the business stuff, I think I'm like a 5-year-old in this big body. Like, I'm just like excited and ready to take everything on, super resilient, still loving no matter what happens, and just going into life kind of with, like, not with like blinders on to where I can't see, but doing.
On Facebook, you say what you think. You are an open book. You are sitting there, you're inspiring people. You're just giving out that good energy, right? And I guess my first thing I want to understand is, you have all these things going on. How did you decide with the janitorial business is now 5 years old? Like,
yes, 28 days, it turns 5 years old. I'm counting.
That is amazing.
I'm so excited.
Let's talk about the story that led you there. Like, how did you, would you sit at the house one day and was like, you know what? I'm gonna open up a janitorial business. Like, how did this whole thing come about?
So basically, I was in property management, and I was pregnant with my youngest son. He just turned 6. I was pregnant with him, and I knew that I was going to be a single mom, and I knew the job that I had, or the field that I had chosen, which is property management, is more like on call, right? Like, you work during the day, but you also have to be available for the residents or maintenance or whoever. And I knew that in my situation, I didn't have that. So I didn't think it's something that I could be in more control of my time, because I also don't have like family here, right? Like my mom or my grandma or aunt, somebody to watch the kids for me or pick them up. It was literally me. And so I knew I had to figure something out. And in property management, I see all the invoices, right? So I saw the invoices that those cleaners were sending. And I'm like, I know how to clean. Like, if there's anything I know how to do, I know how to clean. And so one day I woke up and I said, I'm going to do it. And I quit my job literally the same day. And I just did it.
So you made your mind up.
Yep.
And quit the same day. You didn't go home and be like, I'm going to sleep on this. You made a decision and left.
And I had to go all in.
Wow.
That's the 5-year-old in me, that one track mind. I can only do one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Do one thing my all.
Yeah. Wow. That is amazing. Like, you know, that is amazing. Okay. So you make that decision. What does the next year look like? What is the process? Have you had any type of business experience before then?
No business experience. So the next year was, it was real. I chose to send my youngest son to live with my mom in South Carolina for a couple months, because up and quitting your property management job means that you have to move, because I lived on site. So it means you have to move within, 2 weeks or whatever the time frame is. So I chose to send my youngest son to stay with my mom in South Carolina. He was there for like 6 months or something while I was building Coastal, trying to move or whatever. Then my oldest son, he just stayed here, with his dad, and I could get him on the weekends or whatever. I was pretty much renting a room from someone, and then I finally got an apartment. Yeah, it was right about 6 months, because I started Coastal in February, and then I didn't get like a place, an apartment, somewhere to live until like August. And so in between then, I kind of just had to hustle. I had my first construction contract was in Bellevue, and the room I was staying in was in Tacoma. So construction hours are 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. So that means I had to be up, at like 3:30 to make it to work on time, and then come back and just do it all over again. But once I got my place and my son came back, that contract was over, and I had a couple more contracts closer. So I would just try to like clean while he was at daycare, or, if someone could watch him, I did it like that.
Wow, that is crazy. So you sent off your son. You're like, okay, I don't have anything set up. I know I made this decision.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have anything set up right now. I'm gonna send my son to my mom for 6 months. I'm gonna send my other son to his dad.
Yeah.
While I try to get this off of the ground. Did you ever, during that time period, because I know that had to be tough as a mom, did you ever during that time period, did you ever doubt yourself and question whether you made the right decision?
No, I never doubted or questioned whether I made the right decision. My struggle is because, again, that 5-year-old in me, right? Like, I try to see the good, even though you can see what's there. You try to see the good in people, and I think my main, even to this day, I've learned a lot in this last year of business. But when people show you who they are, believe them, right? And so that was in the first 6 months, I would say the hurt that came with people trying to take advantage of what I didn't know was the biggest lesson. But I never doubted myself as being able to execute on the dream that I had.
Wow. So it was a lot of, bumps, like you said, people trying to take advantage of what you didn't know.
Right.
And that's always the gap between where we want to be and where we're at is what we don't know. So, so that's, oh, wow. Okay. So you survived the first year, and then you're now in year 5. What do you think what's the biggest lesson that you've learned from, because you scaled it from zero,
literally zero,
6 figures. What is that lesson? What is the biggest lesson you learned during that period of time to go from there all the way to where you are now?
I think the biggest lesson I've learned is that relationships matter. And it's not the negative relationships, right? Your positive relationships truly will save you, help you grow, inspire you. It's like people think I'm out inspiring. It's because my circle, right? I'm inspired daily by the relationships that I've been able to build because of the business, the people I would have never met if I didn't make this choice in my life. So I think the most important thing is really that people say like the top 5 people, the 5 people closest to you are who you become. I think that's very real, and it's my biggest like lesson, and being able to trust, getting out of the imposter syndrome, right? And just being real. Like, I don't know, or I do know, or I want to do this, I want to do that. My newest goal is, and I came up with it 2 weeks ago because I lost a pretty big contract, right? And so, and they called literally the day before Christmas, but it's okay. But my new goal is to get Coastal to $120,000 a month. Well, to do that, you have to talk, you have to know people. And so, I think I show so much gratitude to my circle because when I told my circle, because I was going to keep it a secret and then I just have a big mouth. So I said it, when I told my circle, they were like, that's what we love about you. You're always reaching for the stars. Let's go. Let's get it. How can we help? Mostly have businesses, right? So that means they're trying to get Coastal out there. They're posting Coastal. They're asking, their friends, can Sam come clean your house? Like not Sam literally, but, can Coastal come clean your house? Blah, blah, blah. Like, can Coastal clean your business? Can, marketing for me. And I think that that's the biggest lesson that I had to learn to open up and trust in the right way.
Yeah. I don't want to scoot past that. We're talking zero. I'm living. I gotta send my kids off. I don't have a place to live.
Right.
To 5 years later, we're talking about. My new goal is $120,000 a month. We're not gonna skip past that and act like that's a small thing. Like that is, I really want people to catch that. When you're gonna have these ups and downs, and I want to talk about something next. We're gonna have these ups and downs in life, but the thing that you did was you decided, and once you decided, you just did, and you learned things along the way, and you put the right people around you. Yeah. And I don't want people to miss that. You're not gonna know everything when it's time for you to start. But you got to just make the decision that I'm going to start and then start.
You have to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's going to require some sacrifices.
Yeah.
It requires some sacrifices for you. Some things that have happened in your life, have hurt you, that have changed you. And how do you still find the strength to keep going?
That childlike existence, right? Sometimes it's a gift and sometimes it's a curse. But in this instance, it's an absolute gift because, you think you have kids, right? Most people have been around kids, My 5-year-old, though he's 6 now, he has a bad day at wrestling practice. He doesn't quit. Mm-hmm. He goes and he's like, I'm still going to be the best wrestler in the world, right? Because that's what he wants. And he doesn't see the obstacles. He doesn't see how he's going to get to practice and all that. And I think that has been how I continue. I'm real about my mental health, right? If I have rough days, I'm real about it. But I think that I always ultimately create a new thing to reach for, right? And that's what it is. It's just that childlike existence, I always who says I want to make $120,000 a month with my business, 30% profit margins by August. Well, currently, with the couple of losses that you took at the end of the year, you're looking at about 25,000. So how are we going to get there? But that's all I see is it's not about the obstacle. It's about, I'm going to get to 120,000 and that's it. And that's, I think, how I've done it, right? Even with my kids outside of business, something I struggle with, I said, is being late, right? So I'm gonna get my kids to school on time, and that's it. That means if we're going and I am still in slippers and left my glasses at the house, we need to be in that car by 9:09 to make it there by 9:20, so that I don't have to walk you guys in the office anymore. Okay. Yeah. So, it's just knowing, boom, boom, boom. That's it.
That's that childlike we often forget. Even what we did as children. That we crawled before we could walk.
Yeah.
We fell down, we got back up, and we never told ourselves, "Hey, you know what? I tried this walking thing once.
I'm good." Yeah.
No, we said, "Hey, I see this person walking. I can walk. Figure it out until I can walk." And then once we started walking, then we're like, I'm not satisfied with just this. I'm going to learn how to run.
Now I got to run,
Yep. And then we out of there. Every time you turn around, where the kid? Gone. So I think we tend to forget that experience, when we're going through life.
Right.
So you spoke about being a mom. So how do you feel like you balance the demands of being a successful entrepreneur and the demands of being a mother? How do you think you find the balance, or how do you try to balance it?
Yeah, so I would say when it comes to my parenting style, I include my kids in everything. Some people agree, some people don't, but I include my kids in everything because that's the time that we get to spend together, right? Whether I'm working, because they've been on job sites, they've literally been on construction sites, like while I'm working. And then things that they like to do, even as challenging because it's real, right? When I have payroll due and I don't know if the checks are going to come in time, and then I still have to schedule jobs, and I have to get jobs and meet these goals, answer this client's question, whatever. And I promised my son I would spend 30 minutes building this Lego set. I still have to say, you know what, like this time's important. He does what I want him to do. So I should do at least this little bit of what he wants to do, and so that's kind of like how we do it. My kids, they both have different likes. So my youngest, he likes to cook, right? So when I cook, you come cook with me. My oldest, he loves to shoot basketball. So we now have 2 basketball hoops in the house. Real one, like that's supposed to be outside. And then the door one, and and it's downstairs. So when we're all kind of in, and we kind of just make it work. And one thing I know, and my kids will probably say too, right? We're all our own humans. So they're my kids, but they're their own people. And I respect them very much as that. And they respect me very much as my own person. And I think that is the ultimate of how we make it work. They're not just my kids. They're their own people. And whatever their needs are, they tell me. And whatever my needs are, I let them know too. So
yeah, I think that's amazing. Treating just recognizing that hey, they are their own people, and they are going to grow up and be whoever they are going to be. So understanding from a young age that, hey, I can tell you what my needs are will make it more likely that they'll be able to communicate those needs later on in life to other people. And that way they can build more sustainable relationships because both parties feel comfortable telling the other person
for themselves. But one of the things I really struggled with as a kid was and still as an adult, but I'm better now, showing my emotions, feeling safe with my mom, with my grandma to say like, I'm not okay, and so it has helped me through adulthood with business and going into rooms and not being okay, but still being able to show up. I don't want that for my kids, right? I want them to, how you said, like people know what I'm going through. They know where I'm at and what's up with me, but it's because I posted and I'm real about it and I still show up, right? I don't want to have to hide to show up, and I don't want that for my kids, when the contract called the day before Christmas and they had to cancel because it's a real estate firm and the real estate market is, making huge changes or whatever. They had to make their immediate change. That contract was thousands. That was a good amount of money. And so I began to cry, right? I'm with just my kids. We're about to go to Target. And I just stopped the car and I just cried, and they heard the call. And my oldest, he sat there for a minute. He's more like observant. And my youngest, he gets by me. He's like rubbing my chest and he's like, Mom, you have to breathe. You have to breathe. Mom, you have to breathe. I'm here with you. You have to breathe. And I calmed down and I started that again, and he's like, it's because you're not breathing, Mom. I'm here to protect you. You're not breathing. He's rubbing my chest, and finally I calm down and I look over and my oldest son, he's calculating. He's real smart. And he's going to be an entrepreneur. He already, that's his thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, how much was that contract? How much are our bills a month? Okay. And we get out of the car and he's not really saying anything. He said, the only thing he said is, because I was like, we're going to be okay. I'll just have to take over one of my other contracts and work. It'll be every night I have to work for a little bit. And he's like, my mom's not working. And so going back to cleaning all the time, right? He's like, I don't want that. So we get out the car and he's like, I'm going to save $10,000. I think I could save $10,000 by the end of next month. And I was like thinking to myself, I'm like, you don't have an income. You don't have income, right? But he's so confident. I said that to say, like, my youngest son, he's 6 years old, and he was able to show up for me emotionally and be not just strong, but that was a very vulnerable moment, right? For him to even show, like, Mom, I'm here to protect you. It's good, And then for my oldest, still to this day, he's like adding up his little savings, and he's like, now it's 1,000, and I'm 27% of the way there. I'm 30%, and I'm like, that's cool, and that's why I want them to see everything and be who they are, because I would never get to see that in them if I hid me from them. That's my parenting style. That's how we balance. We just keep it real.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think, like you said, exposing them to the business side, that's how entrepreneurs are born.
Yeah.
Being able to see it, especially when you see it from a young age, I think you look at the world differently, because you're looking at the world like, where's the opportunity?
Yeah.
Instead of, how do I consume?
How can I fit in?
There's an opportunity here. What am I going to do? And once you got the numbers, you can understand the numbers, man. You better watch out for him. He's going to be out there. He understands numbers. And he's already, you got to understand the margins. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that, just them being exposed to that, I think is really amazing. I like that. And it's interesting. Like you said, you shared that's a hard moment, to hear. I mean, it's a hard situation to go through right before Christmas. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The day before Christmas, you get the call. So I know that was tough. And just, you also let them see, like, there's going to be some ups and there's going to be some downs in business. Right. And so I think that's an amazing, that's amazing for them to see. I saw something on your Facebook that I really liked, and I want you to kind of, what inspired you to, what made you say this, or I want to kind of hear a little bit more of your thoughts around there. You say, any business set up like a hustle cannot obtain sustainable success. Systems and goals. You should be thinking 5, 10, and 20 years out. Next month will come, and so will those bills. It's important we think future than right now as an entrepreneur. Why is that so important?
Gosh, I think because to me, it's so important to think long term, because I want to be able to, like, enjoy my life, right? I don't always, and I think everyone should, I don't always want to be in the hustle of, as much as I'm thankful for this moment right now of my new goal or whatever, once I hit that 120,000, that there's reasons for that, right? I can get a nanny, I can get meal prep service, I can make sure that I have like a constant house cleaner. There's certain things that I can do with that money that will give me more freedom, right? If I chose to just, my bills are $5,000 a month, I need to make 6,000, and I'm doing that every month. Where's the true growth? Like, where's the freedom in my life? Because at the end of the day, anybody could say whatever they want, but this is America. We can do whatever we want here. We could be free. We could choose, maybe we have the choices to be free and do whatever we want. So why would I continue to be a slave to money? And that's it. That's my own, at the end of the day, that's my own choice. That's my own being. When I could take, right now I'm figuring out systems, right? I want to add an Airbnb service in management. That's totally different than what Coastal has ever done, which means that I have to create systems for that. Once I've created the system, all I have to do is plug and play the people in place. All I have to do is plug and play the clients in place. I don't have to sit up there and go knocking on doors or tell my kids, sit in the car for 10 minutes while I go, pass out these flyers or whatever, because I've been there, right? And I see people continue to do that. And I think, like, it's cool to have a passion, you hustle your passion, whatever. But if it's something that you want to do to ultimately create freedom for yourself, then why are we treating it like it's nothing more than a hustle?
I think that's so important, because a lot of us, we if you look at social media, it is this hustle. That's hustle. Right. We live in this hustle. I don't know what the other word there is, but that's all these promoted. I'm hustling, doing this. I'm hustling, doing that. And what you're saying is, hey, you know what? You're not just, your life shouldn't consist of just a hustle. You need to put some systems in place so you can actually create some freedom in your life to be able to do these other things, and you're saying basically money is a tool,
right?
And you're trying to use that tool to create more freedom, not just spend every day hustling for it.
Exactly.
And then you don't get to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't want to get up, me, for sure. You know, I don't want to get up. I definitely don't want to be getting up at 8 o'clock in the morning. Okay, you guys, I don't know if you saw that post. That kind of like, people were like, what? And like, I'm not a morning person. I do not answer my phone before 11 o'clock. Like, do not even try to call or text me, you know, but I'll be up at night. So I don't want to have to be in a life where my schedule's controlled and all that. Because then I'm not going to be the best Sam that I love and that I get to like and that everybody loves and gets to, you know, I don't. No. No. So yeah, just take the whole time.
But you know yourself, and that's the beautiful part. You know yourself. You know what your strengths and your weaknesses are. So you're trying to create a life that you're taking action to create a life that works for you.
Right. So yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now, I saw another post on your Facebook page, and it was talking about how, instead of, what's up, what you doing, you need to, hey, this is where I'm at. Can I send coffee or, try to be more of a, what is that? You're like saying be more, if you want to get my attention, it's kind of like.
Because, yeah. I just think, like, if any relationship, I think I put it more towards because, my DMs, what's up? Like, man, do you know what's up? I'm trying to get to this goal. Do you know somebody that needs their house cleaned? Like, do you know? Like, big, and can you help me? Because I gotta close 5,000 today before my son gets out of school because I gotta cook dinner. So if you want to have a conversation with me, then maybe you should send dinner and I might have time to talk for 15 minutes. And it's not like that, but it's like, any friendship, with my friends, with people that I care about, you have to see like where the need is in their life. And for me, I'm able to produce, right? Like I am a producer, right? Like I'm really good at it, right? I'm really good at figuring out how to make this move, make that shake and whatever. But that doesn't mean that I'm good at being, my grandma always teases me. She says, because I cooked on Thanksgiving, she's like, not my granddaughter being domestic. I'm not good at whatever that, like a home person. I don't even know what it's called. I don't even know it's not me. I don't even know. So, those areas, like, it help where you see the need. If you really care about a person, if you really want that person in your life, then that little investment will be worth it. And if that seems anything other than an investment to you, then you're not the person to be around me anyway. So I'm still saying how I feel, because you're married. All right. When you're courting someone or any friendship you have, you have to put that, like, it's not even about what makes me special to you, but what makes you feel like I'm special to you. Show me where you see me that maybe I don't see me.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I'm saying. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let me ask you this. Do you think because you're, you are, like you said, a producer, you're a high achiever. So does that make you it seems like that's one of the things that gets in the way because they're like, man, well, this person can produce at this level. I'm not there yet. Mm-hmm. Should I even bother approaching this person?
Right. Well, I mean, I think, look at like Candy and Todd, right? Candy is, she might as well be a billionaire. Okay. And Todd was the cameraman on the show, right? Oprah and her partner, just whoever. But sometimes, just because someone is a high producer or high achiever, that doesn't mean that there's certain things that need to be met, right? Like helping emotionally, helping them to continue to be present, be a human. A lot of high achievers, you see it in Hollywood all the time, but it happens day to day, every day, right? Like, but a lot of high achievers, a lot of high producers, a lot of people that are really good at quickly making things happen ultimately commit suicide. It's because their brain can't stop, right? Their brain they don't have really that something to latch onto to balance that constant motor, that constant whatever they see, you know? And so that's why it makes it ever the more important. Friendships where that's why I said, show me where you see me that I don't see me. You know, so something, even an example, one of my close friends told me, when you walk into a room, you don't just start what you have to say. You need to say hello and greet everyone. But to me, I was on a mission.
Yeah.
You know, to them.
Yeah, I'm here for a reason.
Can you empathize and say what's up? Can you connect with people? Like, you know, and so that makes me, even if it's hard, because I'm like, I don't want to be seen right now. They saw in me that I needed to be seen, right? That makes that friendship ever the more important, no matter if they are currently working, they have their own business, or whatever they do, they're a stay-at-home mom, you know? And so that's why really I made that, because I think sometimes people, like you said, they think if somebody has a certain amount of money or a certain amount of achievements, you shouldn't talk to them. But normally that high achiever doesn't want to talk to you about their achievements. They won't talk to you about what they don't know yet, what you know, right? Like how do you sit and meditate for 20 minutes a day? You know, how are you doing whatever it is that you're doing? How are you connecting with your kids? And it seems so easy for you. How are you making time to reach out to me? What even made you notice me? Because I didn't notice you or anybody else. Because I knew that I got this goal. You know, and that's kind of where it comes from. As a matter of fact, what even made you think to ask me, did I eat today? Because I didn't even think of what I should eat today, and it's 5:00.
Interesting, and that you said that, because that's something I hadn't thought about too. Like you said, high achievers don't necessarily want to talk about the fact that they're high achievers. Other stuff, and like they know that thing, right?
Yeah.
That's very very interesting, and I think it gives us another way to look at these things and approach people in situations where you may think this person has it in this one area, but there's also, you know, you may have something to teach that person.
Absolutely. 10,000%. You probably do.
Yeah. So I think that's, you know, a good frame of reference for us to think about. Now, what sent you in the direction, like you got this, you know, you got this janitorial thing going on. When did you wake up? You just woke up one day and it's like, you know what? I'm going to take over real estate. I want to just do the real estate thing. Like what sent you there? What sent you in that direction?
So basically with that, I actually wanted to do real estate first before I started the cleaning business. And at the time I was married. And again, like I said, I knew I was going to be a single mom, but there, you know, with your partner, you share your dreams, right? You share your goals, whatever. And I had told that particular person, that partner, that I wanted to be a real estate agent, and that relationship was very competitive. You know, another thing about being with an achiever, sometimes it makes people, like you said, like they see the areas that maybe they don't achieve and they feel like they want to compete to be seen when I already see you, but that's neither here nor there. But he went and ultimately got his real estate license, and that crushed me. So I didn't do it for 5 years. I didn't. And I just said, okay, well, I'm not, because I don't want to compete with you. You know, I don't want to whatever. And then once the coastal's good now, the divorce is done, I've healed up a little bit. That's still something I want to do. So, as a matter of fact, you don't even look like you're that good at it. So I'm about to go back to do what I want to do. I'm about to go back and do what I want to do. And so I just say, you know what? I need to do this. Like I have to do this for me because, you know, something that people say is like, regret hurts more than failure, you know, and that's kind of how I felt about it. Like I would always regret not giving it a go at real estate. That would always eat at me. So let me just do it and then I can move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's important. You said something to me that's important. You actually said a couple things right there. The first one is that how competing in a relationship will essentially just destroy a relationship because you can't, if the world is you know, people in the world are your competitors, and then you got to come home and also find a competitor, there's no rest. Yeah. You know, you don't have that place to
solace, rest. That peace. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's important. And two, the second thing I thought was interesting that you just said was you got the divorce, you healed some, and then the feeling was still there.
Yeah.
So, so you knew, that's how you knew, okay, this is something I really must want to do, because you waited. You went and did something else. You built something completely different, and then it was still there. And then you came back to it now and said, okay, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So I think that's amazing, because it wasn't like, I'm going to get divorced and just go run and do this. No, you did a whole different thing. Now, something else I know that you do is you coach other people.
Yes.
I want you to talk about why do you do that? Like you have your plate's already full. You have all these other things. What makes you want to coach other people?
Well, I think the coaching thing came, first of all, started with requests, right? Like people asking certain things and then having to learn to schedule time, right? And then ultimately that started the coaching. What keeps it going now, though, is relationship. I'm such a relationship-based person that this all gets kind of like busy and, like mundane and whatever. But getting to coach people, you get to build that relationship with them. You get to see them. And for me, I'm really open, so they get to see me, and getting to have that conversation where sometimes I say things that I didn't even know I was thinking, or I hear somebody else say things and I'm like, oh, I can piece that together real quick, and I can solve their problem. And then sometimes they've helped me solve a problem too, right? And so it's important to me because there's the demand, right? And there's the how did you, and even if I didn't know, sometimes people have asked me questions, how did I, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dang, let me figure it out and I'll let you know, And so it gives me a chance to lay out that blueprint so somebody else can do it again, or I can do it again and do it better. Because I didn't even know how I did it the first time. And then second of all, now I have all these new intimate, vulnerable relationships. So it's really important to me.
I just thought about something while you were saying that. Is there a ebook or anything coming soon?
So I do have a book, but it's about construction cleanup. I think I'm gonna do something different though. I'm gonna do something more about kind of what this conversation has been based around, not necessarily just the construction cleanup or the janitorial business, but like, what do you do when times get rough, right? How do you continue to stay focused on your goal? What is your goal? Like those type of, what does it look like being a mom with a more, like that more providing aspect, not necessarily being a housekeeper, or I don't want to say it wrong because it's still very important, but, not necessarily having that domestic side. How do you get comfortable with that? I'll talk about those things.
Yeah. I could see an ebook. I mean, because when you're saying that, it all makes sense. You're already getting the questions, so you have kind of the data piece of it of what people want to know, and then you have your experience, your take on it, and I think it's the way you talk is engaging. You got all the pieces for something to get done. So I want to encourage you. I see that,
and I think you've done that before, right? You've done an ebook.
Yeah, I've done 3. I have another book that's coming out this year that is for a very niched audience.
Okay.
And I've it's been like 2 years in the making, because I did children's books before, but this is for the book that I have is for a very niched audience of men.
That is so cool.
Yeah,
okay, well then I'm probably gonna need your help, because that's cool.
Yeah,
I didn't know you did I knew you did the children's books. I didn't know you did other ebooks too. So that's what's up.
Yeah. Because I think it's I look for where there's a need, and then where I have experience, where I've learned some things, and then the two combine. So I always ask this last question before I end the podcast, and my question to you would be: if someone came up to you right now and they're struggling to take action in their lives, what would you tell them?
I would just ask them, why is whatever your goal is important to you? Why does that need to happen? And, just like most people, anything that you connect to a why that's bigger than you, well, you'll do, And then me, I'm really like, I guess like story based. I don't know how you say. I think I was supposed to be like an old dad or something. I always want to tell a story. But I would tell
teach you through parables.
Yeah, And so, but I would give them, even when I told you about my goal of why I need Coastal to be at that number by July or August, right? Like why I need that, because then I can get a nanny, then I can get the home prep service, then I can make sure that I always have someone cleaning my own house, right? Then I can make sure I have certain things for my kids in place. And what that does is my ultimate why to that is free up time that I know that my kids are going to need with me. Not that they need it right now, but they're getting in sports and stuff, so they're going to need that time. They don't have time for me to be at the basketball game on the phone trying to close a deal. Mm-hmm. And so my why is making sure my kids feel important. My kids feel valued and loved. And so what is your why? Like what, and then that once you know your why, I think for me, not that it's a guilt trip, but it will eat you up if you don't do what you're supposed to do. Like what that you're supposed to do, that why will literally be like gnawing. So, that's what I was like, what is your true why? What is your highest why of this particular goal right now? Not necessarily for your whole life, but for this particular goal, why? Why do you need that?
I think that's so amazing. It's almost like it's creating, like you said, you're story based, but you're creating a story because you have to go through and really think about, why do I need this? Why do I want this? Yeah. What will this do for my life? Yeah. And then allowing that to really seep into your heart, because you're, like you said, if you know that that's what it is, you're going to feel something. Once you let that why seep into your heart, you're going to feel something when you're not like going after it, like when you're not trying to achieve it. Like it's very interesting how that works. And I think about that. And when you were saying that, I thought about that in my own life, because this book should have been out last year, but it's been eating at me since, I knew I should have finished it. So every day it eats at me a little more. Yeah. And so, okay. Yeah. I'm going to do it because, something you talked about earlier was that imposter syndrome, right? I didn't go to school. I don't have any thing for writing and all this stuff. So what makes you think that, people, so we go through that, but we still got to keep showing up anyway and still do it. And it's going to find, you found, when you first started out, you found the customer that you needed to find to get your business going. And then you built it from there. The right people show up. Yeah, the right people show up. Steps. Take the steps. Samantha, I just want to thank you for coming on today. This has been an amazing, amazing episode. I think you dropped a lot of gems on your process, on the way you think, the way you see life, and just really what you've been able to accomplish and do is nothing but amazing. And then just the vulnerability you showed, and just, things you've had to deal with, how you're trying to show up for yourself, and how, you're trying to show up for your kids, and what you exposed to. I think it was amazing. And I think there's something that everyone can take from this conversation, no matter where you are on the journey of taking action.
Thank you for needed this. And it was really good to just get to talk to you and get to, think about those things that even you asked me. And I'm so grateful. So thank you.
No problem. All right. This has been an episode of the Action Only Podcast. I hope you all have enjoyed. Enjoy the rest of your day.